I mentioned, you must readily study topic 4. If not, the LM will prove to be very difficult for you. So if government buy bonds, we quickly recall, government will pay us, deposits in the banks will go up. Alright, then the banks is able to keep more reserves, monetary base goes up, the H went up. But at the same time, it doesn't end there. The banks is also to have able to accumulate more excess reserves. Okay, and the objective is to discuss loans goes up. Alright, if loans goes up, it means your deposits will increase again. Therefore, money supply increase. So this is a quick recap of what we did in last week's lecture as well. We did money supply. So I mentioned to you, money supply itself, right, it's not difficult. If you can clearly see what happens to the banks, what happens to your loans, you know how money will change. So you don't need to use awful multiplier equation. You merely see the flow of money. So money supply increase. So in this case, look at the diagram again. It started with point E1, money supply 1 first, money demand. So point E1, interest rate I1, you go across. You mark out I1 with a Y, and you draw LM1 first. Alright, so graphical approach, you must map the points. You cannot finish drawing the left, then you start to draw right. It's wrong. Graphical means you map accordingly. So that was your step 1. Okay, so I'll mark up the 1 here to show you. Right? Then you trigger the change. So money supply increase. Right? That was your step 2. So you have your MS over P2. So you have to analyze. Right? Okay, so in this case, your E1 will go to point B. So we hold too much money in our hands. Let me rephrase. We have too much money in the banks, should I say. Right? So banks don't want to pay high interest. They will cut interest rate. Step 3. Okay? And we will sell our financial assets. Step 4. Okay? And the adjustment will end at point E2. Step 5. Okay? So make sure you go back. Right? You must analyze 1 to 5 yourself. Huh? Okay? So it's not just tell the examiner E1 goes to B and then E2. You must analyze your 1 to 5. If you're not sure, right? See page 27 to 28 of topic 4. We've done this last week. So I cannot wait for you to grasp it. Huh? I have to push it through for you. Okay, so you end at point 5, you got I2. So what do? You bring the interest rate across, but you must lock your income. Right, throughout this process, income didn't change. So you have the same income, but a lower interest rate I2. That was your step 5. Okay, and in this case, you will draw your LM below it. So graphical, it's useful to do shift because you have analysis and you prove the answer. Okay? Then you can also double check. How do you know your curve definitely shift down? You check with your vertical intercept. Alright? You could see M over P drops. Look at your vertical intercept. Alright? Imagine this is a smaller value. Alright, your vertical intercept actually drops. You can see from here. So that's why if you are good in both maths and diagram, they complement each other. They will reinforce your answer is correct. Okay, so do not go and join E1 and E2 and get vertical. That's wrong. Okay, the entire analysis was income unchanged, but you get a lower interest rate. So you need a new line. So you know you will shift because your vertical intercept is lower. Okay, so I put a note here for you. Do not join E1 and E2. Right, then you will always get only one line, and that is wrong. Okay, so this approach, I will use it when I discuss shift of LM. If I merely use the intercept alone, which is the mathematical method, I got nothing to say. I only say the line is with a lower intercept. Okay, now you can see, this is actually not a good diagram, right? Because I just told you LM should have a negative intercept. But in this case, the examiner will pardon you because you are mapping the points and it's very difficult. So if you accidentally draw like that, it's fine. He will not penalize you. But if you are very precise, I'll draw it in to show you. If you go back and practice, actually, when you first draw your E1, you shouldn't draw very flat. The first time you draw your E1, it should be like that. Then the second time you draw your E2, it will become like that. Then your answer is very accurate. But if you didn't, if you make the mistake here, this is in your course guide answer. Right? If you make this kind of mistake, it's pardonable. Okay? But you cannot draw zero axis. Zero axis, a big no-no. Okay? Right? So this is graphical. So go back, try yourself. Contractionary monetary policy, you should show, alright, your deposits will drop, your ER will drop, money supply will drop. Okay, and you will show vertical intercept of LM will go up. So remember, it's not E1 to E2, there's always a triangle. E1 must go to E first. So go back and practice on your own. Okay, so for this topic, I don't usually go through every single diagram. I don't. Okay, so sometimes people say why I teach so fast. Because if you have a good base of understanding, I don't need to waste time and repeat. You must know the anchor point and you try out yourself. Okay, so in summary, the exam question requires us to discuss, right, slope of LM. I will use analysis with maths. I won't draw the diagram. Alright, okay, I will discuss size of H2, how we react to buying bonds. Okay, and then I get the final answer. I will not use graphical method. If question wants us to discuss shift of LM, I will use analysis, right, which is your step 1 to 5 for the money market. Then I will use graphical method. Okay, so this is a general summary of your choice of approach. Okay, but reminding you, in fact, if you want to excel in macro, you must be good at all of them. But for those of you who can't manage, right, then I am recommending this is what you do. Okay, but remember, whichever method, everything must finish in 10 minutes. Okay, each one of them you are taking 20 or half an hour to do it, then obviously you're still filling the paper. You must know time is at stake. So this is what we discussed last week. Slope of LM, I will analyze H2, right? Then I will draw the LM. Whereas if it is the shift, like what we saw up here, I will use diagram. Okay, and the analysis is the step 1 to 5. Yeah. Okay, alright, so make sure you have a good anchor point. So this is the LM curve. So you now reflect back in your intro days or your bridging course. What was LM to you? A straight line. What line? Upward sloping. Why it shift? Don't know. Shift and see how. Sometimes shift correctly, good. Sometimes shift wrongly, too bad. That's what you had. But you can't do that in macro, right? Because you know shift and movement each has its impact on the money market. So that's why in ISLM, in macro, we really drill you very hard. Right? You don't like it, you're thinking, just memorize straight line can already. Why so lazy? You know, then discuss in depth. But you need it. Alright? You must know how adjustment in the market will shape the curve. Okay, so that was money market. And that is LM. So with that, now we are ready to go backward.